Hey sis, welcome back to Sis What, where the conversations are real, the vibes are honest, and the side eyes are holy, but still very much necessary. It's your girl Monique, your favorite. I'm still figuring it out, but I'm going to tell the truth anyway, host. And today, I want to talk about obedience. Not the glamorous kind, not the kind that comes after you got it all figured out. I'm talking about the kind that shows up while you're still nervous, while you're still questioning yourself, while you're still wondering if you're enough. Because recently something happened that God used to teach me a lesson I don't think I'll ever forget. I was asked to do the corporate prayer at church. Now, for some people, that might not sound like a big deal, but for me, it was. I've never done that before. Never stood before a large body of people and led prayer. And if I'm honest, my first reaction wasn't confidence, it was fear. What if I don't know what to say? What if I mess up? What if I freeze? What if I'm not good enough? And maybe you've asked yourself those same questions before. Maybe not about prayer, but about the opportunity, the business, the relationship, the ministry, the promotion, the assignment, the thing God keeps placing in front of you, the thing that scares you because it requires a version of you you've never met before. Before I ever got up to pray publicly, I prayed privately. And my prayer was simple: God, calm my mind, calm my body, give me peace, speak through me. Because the truth is, I didn't have the words. I didn't have a script. I didn't have a perfect plan. I just knew if God called me to do it, He would have met me there. And that's what faith really is sometimes: not having all the answers, not feeling qualified, not feeling ready, but trusting God enough to take the step anyway. You know what I've realized? Fear has a way of making us focus on ourselves. Fear says, what if you fail? What if you look foolish? What if you aren't enough? What if you mess up? Fear keeps the spotlight on us, but faith shifts the spotlight back to God. Because at some point I realized this wasn't about me. It wasn't about how polished I sounded. It wasn't about whether I said everything perfectly. It was about being willing. And I wonder how many opportunities we've missed because we were waiting to feel qualified for something God had already called us to. How many doors have we talked ourselves out of walking through? How many times has fear been louder than faith? How many times have we mistaken feeling unprepared for being unchosen? Because those are not the same thing. Just because you feel unprepared doesn't mean you unchosen. After the prayer was over, people started coming up to me. They told me the prayer touched them. They told me they felt God's presence. One person even told me they cried. And I appreciated every kind word people spoke to me. I truly did. But what moved me most wasn't hearing what God did through me. It was realizing what God can do through any of us when we stop letting fear make our decisions. Whew. I'm going to say that again. What moved me most wasn't hearing what God did through me. It was realizing what God can do through any of us when we stop letting fear make our decisions. Because that's the real miracle. The miracle isn't that I prayed. The miracle is that God keeps showing up through imperfect people. People who are nervous, people who doubt themselves, people who don't have it all together, people like me, people like you. What really blew my mind was watching the service back afterward. I sat there listening, crying, and I barely remembered half of what I said. Seriously. I was listening like, wait, I said that? Because in that moment, I wasn't operating from my own strength. I wasn't trying to sound impressive. I wasn't trying to perform. I was simply available. And that's when God showed me something. I spent so much time wondering if I was enough that I forgot God never asked me to be enough. He asked me to be available. Hmm. Wow, that thing sat with me. Because how many of us are exhausting ourselves trying to become enough? Enough for the assignment, enough for the opportunity, enough for the relationship, enough for the room, enough for the calling, when God never asked us to carry that burden in the first place. He didn't ask us to be enough. He asked us to trust Him. He asked us to show up. He asked us to say yes. The older I get, the more I realize confidence isn't believing in myself. Confidence is believing in the God that's with me. Because there have been rooms I never would have walked into myself. There have been opportunities I never would have chosen for myself. There have been moments where I felt completely unqualified. But every single time, God has shown me that His strength really is made perfect in our weakness. And that's why my confidence looks different now. It's not rooted in my abilities. It's not rooted in my accomplishments. It's not rooted in how prepared I feel. It's rooted in knowing that if God brought me here, He's not going to leave me here alone. I think somebody listening today is waiting, waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel confident, waiting to feel fearless, waiting until everything makes sense. Sis, you might be waiting on something that's never coming because most of us don't feel ready when God calls our name. Most of us don't feel qualified. Most of us don't feel fearless. Most of us just have a choice: trust fear or trust God. And every major step of faith begins there. Maybe the reason God keeps putting opportunities in front of you isn't because you're already ready. Maybe it's because He's trying to show you what He can do through someone who's willing. Maybe He's trying to show you that your strength was never the source. Maybe He's trying to show you that your confidence was never the source. Maybe He's trying to show you that He is. And maybe the opportunity in front of you isn't proof that you're qualified. Maybe it's proof that God trusts you with the assignment. So I'm going to leave you with this, sis. If God calls your name, stop disqualifying yourself. Stop talking yourself out of it. Stop shrinking. Stop waiting until you're fearless. Stop waiting until you're perfect. And just say yes. Because God doesn't need your perfection. He needs your yes. He doesn't need your certainty. He needs your obedience. He doesn't need you to know every step. He just needs you to take the next one. And every time I've trusted Him enough to move, He's met me there. Every single time. So I'm going to leave you with this, sis. The next time fear tells you you're not enough, remember, God never asked you to be enough. He asked you to be available. And if this touched you, you already know why. And this is Sis What? Where the conversations are real, the vibes are honest, and the side eyes are holy, but still very much necessary. And I'll see you in the next episode.